for is Exavier Pope. He is a sports attorney, sports business and legal analyst, and the host of the sports talk radio show Suit Up that covers the business and law behind sports. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you. Good morning to you.
Well, first off, how surprised are you with this ruling?
I'm not surprised at
You're
all,
not.
Pat. I've been predicting this all along on my radio show.
Yeah.
What people don't realize that the NLRB, the burden was on Northwestern to prove that it was not an employer. And a lot of media coverage, a lot of people talked about it as if it was the player's responsibility to prove to NLRB that they were not employees.
Right.
More now on Sepp Blatter's decision to step down. Joining us from Chicago is sports attorney and legal analyst Exavier Pope. Welcome to the program. So did you see this coming?
Absolutely, I saw this coming, Shex. I tweeted this on Friday when FIFA held its Congress with the congratulatory on stage of Sepp Blatter taking his 5th term as FIFA president, that it should have not even happened. The election should have been postponed. But you see, amid of the scandals and Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General here in the United States, stating that there was potentially maybe more investigation going to place and not being committal about whether there would be more executives or more head of FIFA being investigated. There was, on the heels of this, potentially the heat on Sepp Blatter.
Okay, so what are the legal ramifications here for Sterling?
Well, first, the league has to investigate to determine whether the tape that has allegedly his voice is true.
With this, now Sterling stepping back in with his lawyer saying he wants to drag this out. How's this happening? How can he now come back into this and flip the switch?
Well, John, it's obvious that he wasn't pretty much ready to sell. And his wife took upon herself to be part of the Sterling Family Trust, lead that sale. And it's just a matter of him seeing public opinion. And this guy maybe wants a little attention.
How's this going to impact them, and what will be the ultimate outcome as far as their merchandising is concerned?
The Redskins are actually worth close to $2 billion. It's kind of ironic that during this whole Clippers situation, they have another franchise worth $2 billion with a whole racial issue connected to it. And their name, Redskins, is worth $150 million. Well, you have the situation where the trademark protection, you basically have a presumption that you own the mark when you file for infringement.
Too late, says sports attorney and Rutgers alumni Exavier Pope.
Now the university is called into question far as institutional control. And now you're inviting the NCAA to potentially investigate your entire school.
Xavier, if this ruling stands, it doesn't bar the team from using the name, but it does strip the Redskins of any trademark protection. So just briefly explain this to us.
Sure, Darren. Well, basically, the Redskins can't commercially protect the ownership of the mark, but they can use state law protection. They can also use some federal statute protection, and they can also use common law protection via case law. So someone can't go out and start selling jerseys, hats, and mugs without any reprisal from the Washington Redskins franchise.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's at stake financially for them? I mean, the Redskins is valued, I believe, or the team at something a whopping $2 billion.
Yes. Yes, the team is worth about $2 billion, but the name Redskins itself is worth about $150 million of that. And so, say Daniel Snyder, who's the owner of the Washington Redskins, decides to sell his team tomorrow. He could potentially have a team that's worth less than $2 billion at this point. They're the 3rd most valuable franchise in the National Football League.
Harry Reid certainly thinks so. Is this the beginning of the end of the Redskins' name being attached to that football team in Washington, D.C.?
Great question, Tony. I think it's the beginning of the end. But you saw previously, it took 7 years for the previous tribal owners to come to a decision. And so this will be a long fight, and the Redskins will definitely be digging in their heels, but maybe they'll turn out to be hogs at the end.
Wow, did you really just roll that in? All right, Exavier
Sure
Pope is a sports attorney joining us from Chicago. Xavier, good to see you.
Cause this shortfall? Is it just that fewer people are watching basketball, or what's the deal?
Quite the opposite. Actually, this year with the heat, the new renewed fan interest in NBA, it's the best attendance in years, actually. And actually, the NBA owners and the players are actually squandering this perfect opportunity, a boon in the league, essentially, to have all the fans that have come back this year. And so it's unfortunate. So it's not necessarily fans who have left the game. Fans have come back to the game.
Talk more about that settlement is Exavier Pope, a sports and entertainment attorney here in Chicago. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, if we hear about these billions of dollars in profits that the NFL has, and when I hear a number that's in like the $700 million range, That sounds like a win for the NFL, but I've heard Dave Duerson's family, Jim McMahon's family saying they're happy with this. I can't believe that they would settle. What's your reaction?
You have to consider players from a generation ago. They're not the Tom Brady's and Peyton Mannings of the world with giant salary bonuses and guaranteed contracts. You're looking at guys who are mounting healthcare costs, facing foreclosure, evictions. They have immediate needs now.
How important was it for the NFL to keep their books closed?
It's massively important. What the NFL knew, it had a committee that basically collected information about concussions. And I think no one's talking about this. Going forward in the future, this is not just a safety issue for the NFL. This is a financial issue. Now the NFL could maybe have the $10 million that's dedicated to the testing and use it to create a concussion susceptibility index.
Really, if you're an NFL player right now and you're getting concussions every day, you're not getting a dime.
True, but this is something to be negotiated once again with the collective bargaining agreement with the league.
Yeah.
And so you had Lane Phillips, who basically negotiated the mediation, who said that labor defense of the NFL may prevent future suits of current play.